Cover art is an essential part of any song or album, and they're probably way more important than you realize. Ideally, they enhance every song, somehow perfectly clicking with the variety of emotions that each one brings, but sometimes they just totally ruin the vibes. So just like this video, we're gonna take a look at even more iconic album covers to see if we can improve them or just shake them up a little. Welcome back to Fix the World, where with your help, I fix the entire planet one cover at a time. Let's start with Thriller. Of course, we gotta start this list with the best-selling album of all time. I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore with streaming being the main form of listening now. When I was researching this album and specifically the cover to get some inspiration, I found out that the full version of this album cover is crazy. It looks like a pretty regular photo of Michael just laying down, but there's no way to guess what's on his lap. A freaking tiger cub. Like, are you kidding me? That goes so hard. I can't believe they didn't use one of the variants that has the tiger cub closer to his face. I really liked the suggestion to make this look like a Thriller movie poster. So to get some inspiration, let's go to the Thriller music video. If you haven't seen this, it's pretty fun. I definitely recommend it. It's got a lot of exciting moments, like Michael Jackson turning into a werewolf. But yeah, it turns out that was all just a movie, and then he goes walking home with this girl, and then he actually is a zombie, and then he's actually not a zombie, and then he actually is a werewolf. This shot specifically is pretty solid. Let's just get a screenshot of this. Take him out of the background and definitely brighten him up. Let's get a nice frame going. Then actually, I really like this text that's at the beginning. Get a screenshot of that as well. A couple really iconic posters I've seen are for Halloween and The Thing. I like kind of that simplistic vibe, but at the same time, a lot of these are pretty complicated, so I think we can kind of just go for whatever. Let's get a posterize effect on Michael. That seems fitting. Oh, that looks kind of terrifying, actually. Jeez. Ooh, I kind of like this up close sort of vibe. Maybe we do something like that. Really zoomed in. Maybe we actually make a frame that's rectangle inside of the square. Kind of like the blonde cover from last time. Just a lot of experimenting here, not gonna lie. Movie posters never have just the title. They always have some sort of subtext. So I was trying to figure out what we could put like down here or something. And I was looking at the genres and I came across post-disco. I was a little curious what this meant, but apparently this was a huge deal. In the 70s, disco was just totally running the world. Its popularity could not be stopped, and people were not happy about it. Specifically, rock fans. They were so upset about it that it led to the Disco Demolition Night, which is way more literal than you're thinking. During a baseball game, a severe disco hater, Steve Dahl, organized this event, where he basically told everyone to bring their disco vinyl records, throw them onto the field, and then they just blew them all up. Like an actual explosion. It like actually damaged the baseball field because they did this. And apparently the news covered it enough that people slowly started listening to disco less and less. It worked. Therefore leading to the genre post-disco, which was kind of a response to that to keep some elements but then not be disco. Anyway, that's just one of the elements of this album, but I think the idea of the death of disco is kind of a fun tagline for this album movie poster thing. What if we make Michael red instead of black and white? Something like this. Let's see. I need more. Something's missing. Oh wait, I have a perfect idea. You know how you see all the movie posters like in the hallways of a movie theater? What if we just make it look like that? Let's fit this to the right dimensions. But to make it a little more realistic and aesthetic, I'm just gonna bloom out these lights. This looks really bad right now. Just wait. Okay, I don't think that's too bad. I might tweak it a little more later. Guys, it's the next day, and I'm realizing this is really not what I was wanting it to be, but a better version of this came to me in a vision, so I'm gonna fulfill that. We're not doing this wall and frame sort of stuff. I think that kind of ruined it, but this is a really solid start. For some reason, that one Grimes album came to mind, where it's got like the main photo that's a rectangle and then kind of just a banner on the side with some words, I guess. So let's go for something like that and see what happens. Yeah, I can already tell this is gonna be a lot better. Maybe just a basic track list could work pretty well. The Girl Is Mine. That's very demanding. The whole concept of that song is kind of funny. It's just Michael and Paul arguing about who gets this girl with just like zero consent from her, I guess.
She told me that I'm her forever lover, you know, don't you remember?
Well, after loving me, she said she couldn't love another. You keep dreaming.
Okay, this could be okay. Does Michael have like a logo? I think that maybe just his signature is pretty good. We'll make that white. Maybe just like a bunch of mindless whatever text. Let's go back to the Wikipedia. American singer and songwriter. Okay, I'm feeling a lot better about that. Definitely still not perfect, but that's absolutely an improvement over the old version. And I honestly might prefer it over the original. Kind of just a crazy new vibe. I dig it. Great, moving on from a past pop star to a current one, Taylor Swift's Tortured Poets Department. This is Taylor Swift's 11th studio album, not even including the redos. That's just wild. Taylor needs no introduction at this point. She's in the news constantly. Anyway, this album has been #1 on the charts essentially since it came out weeks ago. Personally, I don't totally care for her or her music, and this cover is no exception. I don't think it's very exciting at all. I'm gonna stay a positive, nice person. No hate to the Swifties or anything. That's not the point of this. And while the title is a little corny, it's okay, except for the fact that it's called Tortured Poets Department. She's the only person on the cover. Come on. How am I supposed to know any of the other members when she's the only person I can see and I can't even see her face? I think it would be kind of fun to take inspiration from the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album cover, which of course just features a bunch of significant people. I don't even know the reasoning. It's just a bunch of people thrown into the club. So let's do a similar thing with Taylor Swift and the Tortured Poets and whoever else works on her music. We kind of want a full body photo as much as possible. Honestly, just something like this. We'll keep that basic background and a lot of the black and white aesthetics. Let's start by putting in all the collaborators. First, we got Post Malone. Yeah, that's sick. I feel like the only reason she called this song Fortnite was to get the search results from the game. Honestly, don't even blame her. It's pretty smart. Next, we got Florence and the Machine. Of course, we got Jack Antonoff producing a lot of the record. Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be funny. Oh, there's a ton of people that worked on this. There is no chance I can fit everyone in there. I do have to confess, this is the only album on this list that I haven't listened all the way through. I skimmed through it to get some vibes, but it's definitely not totally my taste. But again, no hate to anyone that it is. Let people listen to what they want. I don't want to see arguing in the comments. Okay, it's starting to get hard to find good pictures of these people. So now we're gonna move on to the main event, the Tortured Poets, meaning significant poets in history. Famous poets. Edgar, classic. I think he's in the Sgt. Pepper's cover too, actually. I sadly know literally nothing about poetry, so I'm sorry if I miss out on any really good ones. This album's given Taylor even more controversy than normal. Even a lot of diehard Taylor Swift fans were kind of turned off by this album, and most notably, she's labeling herself as a tortured poet when she's like a billionaire. People are getting pretty heated about all these topics, but I don't know, I just think it's kind of goofy. I kind of like how it's a square within a square. Let's just copy that same sort of thing, and let's make the background a department store. Yeah. This is awesome. Make this all black and white. There's nothing more English class than poetry in Times New Roman. Let's put that on like a little flag in the department store. We'll just get this hanging from the ceiling behind everyone. Maybe we'll add some shadows under their feet. It's like a class photo for English. That's awesome. Well, there you go. Tortured Poets Department, Taylor Swift. Next up, we got the first of two seriously iconic hip-hop albums, starting with IGOR. This is, of course, the 5th album by Tyler, the Creator. The name Igor usually refers to Frankenstein's assistant. Igor has been represented in all sorts of media and movies, including this guy, which I think looks kind of sick. So to understand the lore a little better, I decided to watch the Igor movie on 20 times speed. And I didn't get it. It was a little too fast. But essentially what I picked up is his idea of Igor is not being able to handle being alone and all of the negative emotions and frustrations that come with that. Apparently the song New Magic Wand is in reference to the Photoshop tool Magic Wand, and supposedly that's why they cut him out with all these angles. But as a certified Photoshop expert, I'm telling you that's not how the Magic Wand works. If I wanted to go for that, I need the polygonal lasso tool, which I guess that just doesn't roll off the tongue the same. I mean, don't get me wrong, that can be a cool aesthetic, but it's just wrong. So let's absolutely be sure to use the real Magic Wand. I think we can get some pretty unique results with it. I think these clumps that it makes are kind of cool. Let's just make a bunch of those. And maybe we just do some cool, like, color shifting. Oh yeah, this could look kind of crazy. Honestly, just kind of going with the flow on this. I kind of want to get those super white eyes like in the original cover. Let's make sure we get it in the frame. I like this little text logo. Let's do something like that. That's kind of cool. This is giving off very different vibes to the original. original and what it actually sounds like, but I think that's kind of cool. I can totally see that passing as an album cover. Now, before we get to the other iconic hip-hop album, which this weirdly looks very similar to, I want to take a little break for our bonus album. Of course, being Minecraft Volume Alpha. I'm counting this as a bonus because it's technically part of a game rather than being a standalone thing, but that absolutely does not mean that it's not real music. This music by C418 is seriously so influential to so many people. And since it's a bonus, I'm gonna go about it in a little bit of a different way. Of course, by building the cover in Minecraft. So here's future me booting up the game and figuring out something cool. Okay, let's just get a new world loaded up. I have not played this game in a hot minute. So I think we just gotta try to get the most general looking place, like a very basic looking plains biome or something. Something that everyone playing the game has come across, meaning we might have to do some exploring. If you're deep in the Minecraft lore, you might know that C418 isn't making the music for Minecraft anymore. He made the first two albums, but after Microsoft bought out Minecraft, for whatever reason, they refused to work with him again. The speculation is that they don't want him to have the rights to the music. I'm realizing I definitely could have done this in creative mode. Oh well. Bet you didn't think you were gonna get some gaming content out of this video, huh? Build a bridge over. Dude, I'm just playing Minecraft at this point. I need to like stay focused on our mission. This map is kind of cool. I'm being overwhelmed. The main problem with just taking a screenshot in Minecraft is that the graphics are obviously very basic. So what we're gonna do is apply some shaders. This will make the game look nice and aesthetic. Look at that. Okay, we need one final thing. I think just right here is perfect. But to be sure that this cover is the most universal thing possible, we're gonna put right in center frame the most essential part of anyone's experience. Oh, that's gonna be beautiful. There you go. I don't know how to take a screenshot, but that's the new cover. Nice and simple, as it should be. Hopefully you were able to guess the next album based off my hints. Of course, we got To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick's obviously been in the news quite a bit recently, considering his Drake beef. Most of it is not very family friendly, so we won't really get into it here. But long story short, Kendrick is now bigger than ever, and this is one of his best albums to date. I do think this cover fits the vibes pretty dang well, but of course, you know what I'm gonna say. Where's the butterfly? I weirdly have a pretty specific vision for this one. There's another major rap album with an animal in the title, Big Fish Theory by Vince Staples, which Kendrick is actually featured on, fun fact. But honestly, I really love the vibe of this cover, and I think we just do the same sort of thing with a butterfly. I think this is a pretty good start. And of course, we just gotta get a crazy amount of noise in here. I do like the idea of keeping that frame, kind of like we did with the Tortured Poets Society, whatever. Kendrick's actually looks so similar to this. That was not intentional. This has some seriously high ratings all over the place with a bunch of #1 spots on all sorts of lists. The amount of stuff that he talks about in this album is way too much to go over in this video. Go listen to the Dissect podcast on 20 times speed if you care. Oh, we gotta keep that parental advisory sticker. Maybe we put it in the top corner. That looks pretty clean. Then, I don't know why, but this just seems super obvious. I'm thinking we just draw on a little crown on this guy. Honestly, just keeping it nice and simple, I think that's pretty solid. Then, as you may know, lots of albums come with alternate covers, either for the vinyl or CDs or whatever it is. And the main point of the whole butterfly thing is talking about the caterpillars growing into the it's a long story, man. Anyway, let's just do an alternate cover that has a caterpillar instead of the butterfly. This will already be our second bonus cover, or I guess the first was a bonus album, not a bonus cover. Whatever, anyway. Apparently the original title for the album was To Pimp a Caterpillar. Anyway, let's just figure out a decent angle for this guy. Let's move the parental advisory to the other side, and we'll redraw the crown, it makes sense. I think those look pretty cool, honestly. Awesome, we got a few good pop and hip hop records. Let's move on to rock with The Black Parade. This is the third album by American rock band My Chemical Romance, and very similarly to the Tortured Poets department, this person pointed out, how are you supposed to have a parade with just one dude? So let's get a few more skeletons to march along with him and play some music. Now there's an alternate version of this cover that does basically this exact thing, so let's take some inspiration from that but try to make it its own thing. First of all, I think this text fits very well, so let's keep that on there. I do really like this original guy, but I don't think I can replicate that style very well. This might be one that looks cooler if I do just draw this out. I don't expect this to look super nice, but I kind of want it to look sketchy, you know what I mean? I do want him to still be wearing this suit sort of thing, like in the music videos as well. This is essentially a concept album of a guy getting cancer and dying and going through the afterlife and reflecting on his life. I still remember the first time I actually listened through this album. It was a super long plane ride, so I downloaded a bunch of albums to listen through that I hadn't yet. At the time, the stereotype of My Chem fans was just edgy teenagers. I don't know if I fit in that demographic, especially at the time. But let me tell you, when I listened to this album, it hit hard. And of course, this guy's secretly just that trumpet skeleton. I'm essentially just trying to fit as many skeletons in here as possible. Just totally overloading it. We also got a vulture, and maybe I'll add a horse. Let's get some color in here in one way or another. I know this is totally all over the place, but honestly, if I was going through what that main character was going through, this is how I would be feeling. Okay, I took out all the text. Let's find a way back in. Ooh, okay. Honestly, I know that's so illegible, but I think that might be the move. It looks kind of sick. And I do still want to add that texture that's in the original. Again, I know this is super sketchy, but I'd argue the album makes you feel a pretty similar way. Awesome, on to our final album of the day. We've got OK Computer by Radiohead. This is again one of the most critically acclaimed albums of all time, and this has become a serious landmark in rock and popular music as a whole. It's even been resurging every once in a while on TikTok with random songs like Karma Police and that other one, you know. While I do kind of like this random collage style, I'm not totally a huge fan of how it actually turned out. So I'm actually gonna take note with what I did last time with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and take an element from each song to make a cool looking collage. Number one, we got Airbag. This is gonna be kind of put together in a weird way. Just hear me out. Then we got Paranoid Android. That sums up the vibe pretty well. Subterranean Homesick Alien. Yeah, that's fine. Exit music for a film. This is not English. Whatever. I don't know if it's worth even finishing this, man. I thought I had something going for a second, but I have changed my mind. You know, I think we'll call it here. Honestly, I think these turned out pretty well, except for the last one. We don't talk about it. I think my favorite's gotta be between Thriller and To Pimp a Butterfly. Anyway, here's me putting it on the globe, along with the Captain Crunch. Sorry I missed that last time. Anyway, for next episode, let's stick with the media theme and make some new movie posters. Let me know what movies could use some better poster designs and how you would do it. Maybe it can be like an oversimplifying episode, something like that. I see your suggestions easier if you're a channel member. Thank you guys for the support. And I guess it's finally time for you to subscribe.